too late to be on it. You went Sam.
Oh.
Sorry.
Maybe the next
Okay. You can
person.
reply to that one. Of course, if need for it, the one I
There you go.
we can put it. Thank you.
Has everyone received it?
Yeah, I'm just opening it. Just in a second. Okay.
Alright, is anyone not ready? Perfect. I stopped this. Okay. The United States federal government ensure that just first primary insurance cost performance factor for Social Security 93% of usually the consumer price index for the elderly to calculate the cost of living adjustment for Social Security to adjust this. The special primary insurance amount for Social Security to at least 125% of the federal policy guidelines apply taxes for Social Security earnings over $400,000 and adjust taxes for Social Security upwards by 0.1% a year for 24 years. Contention warns retirement and security is growing rapidly and legislative uncertainty is driving the perception of benefit cuts. Copy no 1219. A growing number of worried about retirement, so 71% of persons concerned with Social Security might not sustain one set of a retirement study surveys that uncovers the deep-seated anxieties about the futures amid legislative uncertainties. The Social Security plays a critical role in those nearing retirement. Fears of reductions rank as the top concern among lower-income households. Concerns are set against the 2024 cost of living adjustment, lagging behind the rising cost, housing, insurance, cost of care, and their savings drain black holes even when inflation is low now. Restricted data use data proves confident tampering need 23. Evidence shows that substantial measurement error among the income from retirement analysis use restricted use data linked responses for the records of from the SSA and IRS. Unlike existing studies which allow survey data alone, survey data and survey income data underestimating income differentials, inequality in old age, and two impacts versus social trust. Fear cuts creates trust crisis. Torres Gill and Angel 18. Politicians were baby boomers to make up Social Security, declaring these programs must be reduced to reigniting below politics of aging and versus motivated by fear and anxiety, growing crisis, economic disparities among the elderly, create political tensions on the roadmap of address wealth gaps, resentment of political retribution, millennials facing failing American dreams, and wonder if they ever receive Social Security, and loss of trust in institutions undermines decision making and adoption to S risk. Schmidt and Julian 23. Inequality reduce social trust of the society to higher social capital, consider adapted outcomes, environmental risk, resilience, the shocks, conflicts, race, human intentional risk, nuclear war, bioengineered viruses, lost visualized AI, cyber weapons, and bioweapons, leading to global escalation to the public culture, violence, solidarity, moral consideration, decision, move leaders to moral consideration, decision, participating moral circle of other countries and future generations with reduced aspirations. Second, populism is driven by demographics and security among older voters causes globalization. Capital 18. Growing sense of insecurity among pushing the elderly to populist orientation of nationalist parties, global forces would affect older people disproportionately, disrupting industries, older workers, employment, and crumbling pension system, the longer of the labor market shocks, populist waiting for driven by demographics, older voters demand more economic insecurity, populist waiting for the wings to accommodate on this collapses global economic cooperation, freedom 22. Publics make clear they're uninterested in global cooperative partners who are going to favorable cooperative practice by and continue to arm trade politics that the populace are political function, power, social, economic trends. These trends move democratic direction in the politics of fashion and globalization, movement of foundation and national cooperative trends are not seen to promising even for maintenance in future global trade and down on the progress that depends on addressing domestic problems underlying hostility, globalization, and U.S.-led partial globalization will fragment the world of hostile trading blocks. Spence 22. Global economy driven national field competition, reverse globalization, will be impossible in a region close to being self-sufficient, not accepting the U.S. pursuing the legal partial globalization is dividing the world into competing blocks that increases weaponized interdependence and risks nuclear power war. Economy Wall 22. Treaty emerging geopolitical rivalry governments having weaponized interdependence and weaponized considered on slippery slope to 10% exercises something out of control, nuclear risk giving mistrust giving miscalculation, global war with nuclear weapons in 1914-1945 experiences globalization, global trade GDP fell from 29% to 10%. The period was broken by two world wars and projections break on isolation trade blocks. Domestic populism increases the chance of existential nuclear attack. Hit is 22. Populism began the drug civil war, domestic upheaval, nuclear power, increases the likelihood of nuclear war, incident population, and incentive for nuclear threats of domestic populist opponents, and innocent homeland insurance suffer from critical dilemmas, and how to ask the populace would be the fifth report of the foreign powers, calculated not been punishment striking the fate of the world, taking the ability to keep populace of nuclear button effort to defend our politics, and confused into chain of command, and independent immediately restores confidence in Social Security. Richmond 19. Social Security 200 is reassuring and reassuring willing to peace of mind of workers and programs. These are a number to strengthen keep benefit programs and establishes the solvency for 25 years and the perception affect perception of Social Security, giving the confidence Social Security will be the rate of improvements including increase of about 2% average adoption CPIE, calculate colas, increase in social minimum benefits and a 125% of poverty level expansion creates an intergenerational compact that establishes a heuristic model of decision making towards future gens. Arkenbaum, 23. Safeguard Social Security resource trust across generational lines. Contributors doubt they will get about access to benefits. Americans have less faith in big government working to restore trust that entails bolstering Social Security generational compact. We acquire here a secure paradigm to tackle the eviscerating society. To ensure program sustainability, all USA troops face alter polarizing polemics between transacting meaningful transgenerational compact advocates to show this overwhelming majority in favor of the subject of take over $400,000 and expanding benefits and taxes make Social Security sustainable. Box 19. Social Security 2100 will be fully solvent throughout 75-year increase PIA formula 93% use of PIA to calculate goals and increase on special minimum PIA to payroll tax over $400,000 increase the payroll tax of 14.8% by 0.1% each year because the trust fund ratio is increasing the proposal meets the sustainable solvency and newest research shows addressing economic insecurity reduces populism. Row 23. Populism explanation policy, cultural change, and economic insecurity using data from the most recent world war value serviceable factors are highly predicted as results are highly statistically significant globalization and uncertainty primes individuals who blame globalization social safety net and provide security have positive effects. Contention 2 is 2024. Biden uses popular vote in electoral college to Trump now, Council in 118. All polling indicates Biden has a historically low approval of President traits into the bottom of popular voters and world swing stated Biden would lose the electoral collection in a landslide drop in support among Black, Hispanics, Jewish, and Union voters who make up the base of the voter revolt is likely to intensify. He won't get credit for economic improvement. Financial Times 111. The president seemed a little upset in voter sentiment led by economics says the data that Americans do not feel that consumer sentiment is a trailing indicator can keep a year consumers feel optimistic that things of good data are politics are less about data and more about polarization and Biden must play legislative hardball on Social Security create an electoral coalition. Remember 23. Biden let their welfare stay with their democratic establishment accept the political climate rather than mobilize majorities around progressive policies rise for political support via legislative hardball FDR crosses payroll taxes to give the contributors the right to their pensions, Social Security, American and third rail Democrats elected to embrace power policies for self-defeating, not allowing White House to reap political capital. People perceive the benefits. It makes it difficult to rally electoral coalitions. Trump win ends crisis diplomacy. Emory 24. Some argue Biden continues neutral policies with China. Such claims are vastly oversimplifying. Trump's style will be chaotic. Biden pursues carefully in a sequence of diplomacy managed to prevent accidents and divert leading conflict. Much consequential difference would make maybe one of the most diplomatic practices and style for imposing matters. Law failed crisis diplomacy causes global nuclear war. Kimball 24. Existential risk of nuclear weapons is a crucial factor whether it challenges disrupts the full-scale crisis or the outcome of the election of responsibility any commander-in-chief to avoid nuclear war with Russia over Ukraine and China over Taiwan. Putin's threats of nuclear use have raised the specter of nuclear conflict. Biden has not issued counterfacts to Trump and threats of unleashing fire and fury fuel tension in China and Korea. Russia. Biden has pursued nuclear reduction talks with the presidential leadership may not give me a well supported factor that determines whether the risk of nuclear war will rise or fall. And Trump's victory spurs hostile authoritarian alliances. Mulder 23. Victory about democracy by the U.S. and other people's strong alliances. Trump and the president also did everything possible to break Western alliances. And we face the possibility of starting in 2025 Russia and the China North Korean alliance using its fast and vast return to overturn democracy around the world. And North Korea leading the way. Feel like Trump and we find ourselves in a world dominated by authoritarianism. Authoritarianism leads to extinction. Democracy solves in Belfield 23. The silence needs to be more open. Let's cooperate more in a proper process and an increased risk of extinction. And so that it's bad as disasters or responding to risk of extinction. More likely major war to miscalculate might be a problem for personalized reasons. Shots of WMD total states are original that require cooperative pandemics, climate change, to reduce inequality, reduce risk of accident, solve safety, biostudies, climate states to inhibit processes of long-term talent, dominant state will risk of extinction, and legislative hardball on expanding benefits supercharges by approved by union credit on the 23. Benefits cuts are radical politics that are real, but upon the Social Security agenda, the winter writing campaign on expanding Social Security, we dictating minimum revenue to a media fails the proposal seriously, inviting championing expansion that could be not being ignored. President should demand hearings and a voter poll after poll by expansion extremely popular independent voters at 19 points. Well, back Democrats and expanding benefits, expanding Social Security, Democrats will the White House and Senate retaking the House. Expansion exposes GOP opposition and shifts voter perception by economics at Cancun 1114. White House must try to build enthusiasm by economic record voters were buying a fresh proposal show Biden underwater on economic and overwhelming support of presenting Social Security. Yet to hear the president on the topic, and voters remain decided to divide over Trump and more likely to protect benefits of respondents to believe Republicans slash Social Security funding points for Biden can hear Republicans dividing the proposal expansion of Social Security by greater taxes. Mark the card at taxes.
Are you good?
Yeah, let me just take a sip of water and I'll be ready. Alright, okay.
The Financial Times evidence says that voters don't perceive the upsides of Biden's legislative victories because of price increases and that it takes a long time for confidence to improve even after economic policy improves. So why can the plan overcome that?
It's not a question.
The plan changes the dynamic of the election by shifting the focus from the economy to social issues like Social Security, which is something that Biden actually can get a win on, whereas his loss on the economy is inevitable.
Okay, it says that the election is less about data and more about polarization, and that this is fueled by cable news and social media disinformation. Why are Social Security expansions able to overcome disinformation or like Fox News?
Yeah, so our argument is that Social Security is a weaponization of partisanship in Biden's favor. What it does is that citizens of the Republican Party and citizens of, like, obviously the Democrat Party want an expansion of Social Security, but Republicans in Congress
Why
are
does
going
that
to
mean
oppose
that
it
Fox
when they
News
do.
is likely to spin the plan positively for them?
Again, when the Republicans oppose Social Security benefits, they look like villains to the public, and they look like they're trying to cut Social Security because
Given
it
that
happens
it's so popular, why are Republicans likely to oppose it?
because they have like business interests, their constituencies, the people funding their
Do you have a
campaigns.
card that says this?
I mean, the stance that, yes, we have Altman, Cankren, Reamer all say Republicans in Congress are going to oppose the plan if it comes into the House. Fiat means Biden wins that fight.
Okay, Trump bad, why didn't your impacts happen in the first term?
Our cards say that second term emboldenment is going to make it infinitely more likely. He is not going to have to worry about re-election. He's going to choose advisors who won't check his power. He's going to be uniquely unhinged in the second term, but also our evidence indicates that the first term was one of the most dangerous periods in American history, so.
The Castleman
High risk.
evidence, it claims that most polling indicates that Biden will lose. It cites one Gallup poll about his approval rating. What polls indicate Biden will lose?
Yeah, so our cards have an average of numerous polls, so it's not just one poll. Like we
What are
have
the poll
Yeah, it's a
evidence?
polling average.
The Altman evidence says Biden campaigned on Social Security, but it was not taken seriously. Why does the plan get taken seriously?
Yeah, so basically right now Biden is campaigning on just like protecting Social Security. That doesn't get taken seriously because it looks like he's just endorsing the status quo. Same thing with Republicans. They're talking about cutting it, but no one believes that they would actually do it. The public does not currently perceive a difference between Democrat and
Schmidt
Republican stances.
Evidence says
Biden bringing it to
societies
the
that are
floor
highly
Is
unequal
different.
have all these kind of risks associated with it. The plan increases retirement income. Why is that able to resolve inequality for the vast majority of the population?
We've read Campanella evidence that says that the elderly specifically are key to solving populism because they're one of the core like age groups affected by it. B, we also solve inequality broadly. C, we solve social trust as an internal link to majority.
Well, 1 and 2 is same. It's 5 off. Advantage 1, advantage 2.
It's loading for me. Yeah, me too. Alright, good one, you are.
First off is a legislative veto plan. The United States federal government should adjust the first primary insurance amount formula factor for Social Security to 93%. Use the consumer price index for the elderly to calculate the cost of living adjustment for Social Security. Adjust the special minimum primary insurance amount for Social Security by at least 25% of the federal poverty guidelines. Apply taxes for Social Security earnings to over $400,002. Adjust Social Security taxes for Social Security upwards by 0.1% a year for 24 years by 2/3 by the United States, and ought to prohibit applying taxes for Social Security to earnings equaling $400,000 upheld by the United States federal judiciary. INSV shall rate rules that the legislation restricting executive action must be both House and Carrollton and returns that was 84. While this is possible, and no rule take effect unless a joint resolution of approval is passed. Cannot survive. Both are required to pass legislation unless the other one has to concur. Operates to the effect of one house veto. That means takes the legislative veto. 4. The charter rejected the legislative veto to review action. The veto was widespread, effective and efficient. The Prime Minister right to send it to Congress. If the President does strike influence, she has no authority. While the President does not have a plenary power, Congress must authorize reinstating the legislative veto. Creates effective tax on PSCs. That stops escalating conflict in Africa and Latin America. War in 23. Privatization suffers Congress instead of Social Security generate self-perpetuating conflict contracted fuel instability in Africa and Latin America, capable of force without traditional checks and to divide military risk, nation keeps high conflict and propaganda, affects foreign controls legislative veto, gives the opportunity to correct and balance the WPR fails to constrain forces without authorization. Next off this colonialism camp. The expansion of Social Security mystifies the welfare state as the fulcrum for secular logics of elimination and partiality, revalorize the state for improving the well-being of the populace while cascading non-Western modes of research into meaningless vote next rejected anti-20 welfare policies toward indigenous people, refuse colonial control laws, and fight colonial brutality, with impunity, reducing harm across foreign policy, but structural unsettled institutions, indigenous lives across from welfare to begin overwhelm zero-sum logic provides elimination of native indigenous, resistance to elimination, transcend discipline, and announcing federal legislation in relation to Social Security, indigenous community problematized while the state valorize assimilation and make the indigenous person from the mold of individuals, norms, and capitalist ethics, the state is a fixture excuse. Indigenous solutions like Social Security, land, alcohol, possession, self-determination, deny government responsibility for historical wrong. Next off the race year. Inflation is low now. For preferred Fed indicators confirm rate hikes are expected but not guaranteed. So repo 128 Fed preferred gauge of inflation rose it as well slows up pace nearly 3 officials will soon cut borrowing costs. PCE 0.2% inflation retreat as a much faster rate than the Fed anticipated causing recession. And Fed officials have been cautious when to see as sustainable signs of cooling chance. Fed will cut rate in March and outstanding Social Security causes the Fed to immediately overcorrect by raising rates from 14. Social Security was expanded during the 1950s until the 1990s. Term increase the benefits of a 1-for-1 impact on consumer spending. We find a rise in the federal funds rate in response to the benefit increases that is very fast, economically large, and highly statistically significant. The records of the Fed reveal that policymakers were very aware of benefit increases and often viewed them as a reason to tighten monetary policy and sustain high rates to crush high tech and wide tech innovation. Rasco and Williams 23. Tech last year to higher borrowing costs. Tech borrowed when the rates were low to grow. Higher rates hit up tech and hard. Tech all about growth. The formula was taking on debt hope for growth over time. Profits if rates got to get higher, makes it harder to borrow because rates hold too low. They load up on debt. They're in a pickle. High tech, Amazon, Google, Microsoft, Meta, loss of employees have been a mass firing startup. Our cut in the slice rate growth slow down. Will get funding on novel growth. So the market investors skeptical because of risk. They need a lot of money with R&D and investing in the U.S. They're winning the tech race now. Continue tech investment and innovation is key to averting authoritarian PRC-led economic order that destroys the LAO. Carry at all 3. China's intent to surpass the U.S. as a tech superpower. Econ undergoing revolution by rapid emerging tech PRC is executing strategy to achieve primacy, overlapping progress in AI, bio, quantum, and alter landscape race for tech and econ leadership into geostrategic battleground nations that legal government develop military advantage. Tech competitiveness. You also need to sizable investment to achieve accomplish strategic goals. PSC needs to place the United States, U.S. ramification for international rules. U.S. expertise, resources, and tools like whether U.S. sovereignty, endowments, and compete, and loss of tech competitiveness causes nuclear war. 2021. Spread of new tech to U.S. and national reinforce ability to deter tax evasion, employ new tech in new ways that are destabilizing against Moscow shapes the balance of power, diversity, supervision, same China. Invade Taiwan with the SES, shift in power lead to war, exasperating uncertainty, result in military conflict, so nuclear escalation, difficult for U.S. back now. China is projected to quadruple its arsenal, coming out in many provides a real or perceived advantage over its likelihood of aggression against allies in nuclear escalation. Russia and China would disrupt the international order and tech platforms to shift the balance of power and inflection. Nuclear security stability, tech change that reinforces the prevailing system, strengthens stability, democracy should increase investment to maintain the edge, next off the advantage counterplay. The United States federal government should uphold Trump preemption, mandate private implementation of universal retirement schemes, pause research and development of artificial intelligence more advanced in ChatGPT 4, establish a carbon removal administration and implement direct air capture, increase development aid budgets to reduce income inequality, and publicly fairly affirm its commitment to egalitarianism, policy electoral college mandate, election reform including open primaries, ban on gerrymandering, the institution of independent redistricting committees, and the establishment of a proportional representation system that decides elections with ranked choice voting, declares no nuclear no free speech policy, 14th Amendment self-scrum, denies the Rousseau 20 constitutional argument of efforts to overturn 2020 make him ineligible to hold office. Section 3 of 14th public official eligible to assume office invocation, insurrection, given aid or comfort endorsed in the opinion law review. The case is not even close. The case is not even close. He is no longer eligible. Legal scholars have made the same case in criminal proceedings. Impeachment. Congress and operates are directing and immediately upon those who betray their oath that he was self-executing public election officials do not need a special permission to disqualify Trump, legally required to do so. Argument ends up before the U.S. Supreme Court. UPR as well. Social Security Code 14. Return to capital as return to labor for working people that would improve their financial well-being. Saving for universal retirement. Have a private and individual retirement account employees that still provide retirement benefits will satisfy the new requirement here to individuals who are not saving in the existing system. Biggest winners will be minorities. Individuals will be able to exceed employer contributions, minimum contributions. Only 1/6 of the proposed increase. Minimum wage 23. Solve this on AI. Barton 23. AI pause bar open. Training model is GPT 4 determined by examination. Computation required. They can only be trained at large companies making enforcement realistic. Can be noted CCS solves mission. Hoover 23 carbon capture to avoid warming emitted so much even if we stop residual nuclear mitigation. Cement fertilizer we need. DHC nations have to pull down 10 billion tons a year. Development aid solves global inequality loss of 10 quantities. Ingredient 23 more egalitarian, extending more circles other countries more equal societies to give more and more in development, a public commitment to equality, my support of public health more closely that validates solidarity, cooperation, and election reform, self-democracy, polarization, partisanship, and Trump, 20. We need to we elect we need proportional representation. We need advanced democracy. Congress pass bills tomorrow, changing how we vote. The way outbreak of the cumulative of bipartisanship. We elect representatives and multi-winner proportional elections. That pulls members of representative district. Person that favors RCB. Forward Senate. A single winner range. So voting for president replace electoral college. Increase voting fees. Voter turnout. Two party. Single winner generate alongside district votes are relevant. All that votes matter equally. Candidates more incentive to mobilize more voters. And NFU keep popular fingers off the button. Want to see how many 22 the fake hangs on ability to keep popular fingers off the nuclear button. President alone can order the use of nuclear weapons, but in advantage one. One, retirement crisis exaggerated SSA calculations incorrect. Anderson 23 no savings prices off slaughter calculation proceed for all method. Slaughter replacement rate accurate over the exaggerated for how the workers earnings. That makes replacement rates appear smaller methodologies. Preservating us use that America's face retirement crisis driven by assumptions that seniors desire income or retirement income adequacy is found to improve in future decades. Retirement income and insecurity is improving rather than declining. And two, no internal to future generation. People don't trust the government for other reasons like perceived election fraud and elite influence. And three, the plan doesn't solve future things. 19. Trust on solve people's attempt to state out 2100. CBO suggests a false bar. Short of only extended 8 years. Are difficult to predict. 75. 5 years and 4 population constraint, Wayland 24. Analysts highlight the possibility does not establish properly, consider the whole set of populations that research finds that of 40 populous governments, only 7 push the authoritarian rule, West African is less common than feared, liberal parallels from command, considerable strength, institutional checks and balances hold firm in opposition force mobilized out both populace that failed handed by checks that previous done it by half hours of decision before damage and 5 institutional distrust and inevitable no impact. 23 the far right extremist ideas and contempt for institutions never institutions leader trust and conduct social media deals growing distrust and polarization of religions, racial and partisan laws, compromise, white supremacy, national gender, church and state wealth disparity and disinformation, and sustained attack on science journalism, academia, and amnesty, and libertarian think tanks, organizations, and sports taxation, donating money to manipulate legislation, undermine trust. More than 2/3 of white Americans believe that elections were controlled and do not believe that a democracy can help limit stakes and inequality decline. And go to 2. One, Biden wins. Voters have started to give him credit for the economy and anti-Trumpism outweighs Trump. After 124, strong reason to believe majority are rejecting Trump evidence. Robust economy, thinking and consumer confidence, biggest gain. You won't need a fantasy to find hope. Americans kill the polls. Anti-Trumpism is the most powerful self force. Trump reinforced that framing with confidence. Biden focused on abortion, campaigning on reproductive freedom, wake up voter. Big econ wins that Americans have feeling as inflation pools, recession fears of fading as the economy. Biden sweet spot the Democrats won last year election cycle. Turn around state GOP or Trump rambling, mixing up the names. Two and 3. There's no Trump 2.0. He will be constrained. 23 U.S. system to check and balances. Less than a fascist won't be a dictator. Trump is week through, I went through normal procedures. Congress voted ACA bill and walled to acting illegally, blocked by courts to real down and subordinates disobeyed foreign policy. Within tradition, Trump was weak, had tried to bully efforts out failed. He could have different market efforts failed.
I'm actually going to take a second of 8 minutes.
Alright, stop prep.
Yeah, actually, can you look at this? Okay. I had 750. Open for us?
Yeah.
Status of the
The status quo was always an option.
okay. The net benefits to each counterplan?
The advantage counterplans, the race CA, the legislative veto counterplans internal.
Okay, so you didn't read the preamble counterplan, correct?
No.
Okay. Did you skip any other off?
Nope, I didn't skip any other off.
Okay. Did you read the Phillips card?
On what argument?
Polls bad.
No.
Sure. Okay. On the K, can you explain the alt?
Yeah, the alternative would be to vote neg to reject like the 1AC's investment in welfare systems as a means of reform.
Okay.
Okay.
You just read the first card on the K, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Do you have any questions, Annie?
No, you can start asking.
Okay. Sure. So, can you explain, like, what does the legislative veto CP do different?
Well, it picks out of it picks out of applying taxes on social earnings for over 4,000 and instead does it to over $4,002, and then it bans.
What does the $2 difference make?
Well, like the net benefit is premised off the annual plan. It says that because like using the Senate to prohibit applying taxes and then upholding that by the judiciary means that INS v. Shada is overruled, which allows the legislative veto to be reinstated, which allows Congress to have power to like check like war power abuses by the president.
Okay, and you fiat that Congress does this?
Yeah.
Okay. Sure. So you don't have, like, there's no difference for the $2 difference. It's just for the legislative veto.
I mean, like, yeah, like it's like $2 is like nothing when you're comparing taxation, so like it's not like a deficit.
Okay. Sure.
Yeah,
Maybe
sure. Yeah. Yes.
Okay. For the general welfare counterplan, right?
Yeah.
The courts don't have the power to fund the plan. So, like, where in the counterplan does it say that Congress complies?
Well, like we think the courts like the Congress listens to the courts like empirics prove when the Congress.
Is this proven by evidence or is this in the counterplan text?
Well, yeah, we don't fiat Congress on.
Oh, you don't fiat.
Okay, so you don't fiat it.
We just fiat.
Where in your evidence does it say that again?
The Orgard evidence talks about how like a binding general welfare clause can like allow the courts to like invoke it as a way to like make constitutional decisions and then uphold constitutional requirements. If they uphold the plan, then then Congress would follow on.
Okay, 2 seconds left, so.
Alright, we'll start prep.
Yeah, it was
7:50.
yeah, 7:50.
What's your name?
GWEDDI@gmail.com.
G Wade?
Yep.
No problem.
Stop prep.
5:37.
Oh, I'll send it out.
Would you mind,
Yeah, I'll put you on this. Two AC is sent. It'll be retirement and security 2024. Then legislative veto, the advantage counter plan, set call, rates. Actually, 2 more seconds of prep. Wait, I need to set the timer. Wait, what was it at 5:37? 5:37. Any reasons to reject the team?
No.
Okay, stop at 5:34.
5 what?
34.
Okay. Oh.
Anyone need that order again? No? Got it. Alright, then I'll start in a
One second, still.
Oh, sorry. Just let me know when
Yeah.
you're ready.
Okay, I'm good now.
Alright. I'll start in 20 seconds. Drop weaponized independence of countries form hostile trade blocs, so weaponized trade interdependence, increasing the risk of miscopying nuclear great power worlds to conjure a will. They say no retirement crisis, but regardless of the reality of retirement insecurity, most people believe that they don't have enough savings to retire. That's why the plan is necessary. That's Alvin Thompson uses restricted use surveys unavailable to the public to conclude that retirement insecurity is higher than even the least conservative estimates. They say election fraud dumps were not going for public trust. They say 2100, only 8 years. No, Richmond and Gloss assume the combination of all 5 planks of the plan and conclude that the Social Security 2100 Act of the 2019 version would create sustainable 75-year solvency. They say no populism impact, but a populist leader who demonizes political opponents would be insensitive to nuclear threats against them. That emboldens adversaries to strike global war. That time is that means it doesn't matter if there are treks. It's about emboldening adversaries, which is just about their style and rhetoric. They say institutional distrust inevitable. We're not going for it. 2024. Trump's fire and fury crisis diplomacy fuels tensions with North Korea or China or Russia. That causes existential nuclear great power war that's capable, and totalitarian governments are war prone and will miscalculate. Also bad at cooperating on pandemics, climate change, and emerging tech. All leads to extinction. They say Biden winning now. One moment, my block got lost. Biden loses.
Trump wins. Castleman cites a polling consensus declining support from base voters, historically low approval ratings, and trends show it's getting worse. Biden loses in a landslide in the Electoral College. Even with economic improvement, Biden won't get credit. Consumer sentiment is higher. Voters still blame Biden for high prices. That's Financial Times. Legislative hardball is key to shift the media narrative. They say no Trump. In fact, he'll be constrained. No, remember, Crossex, he will be emboldened by his second term. There will be no institutional checks because he will choose his advisors to be consistent with his ideologies, and he'll be emboldened by the fact that he doesn't have to get reelected. And also, it's about his style, not policy. It doesn't matter if his policy is checked. His erratic foreign policy crisis style is what's going to cause the impact. Legislative veto. Process picks are a voting issue. They do 99.9% of the plan through an unpredictable process. The part they exclude is trivial and meaningless with zero literature support. It destroys ground topic education and encourages vague plan writing. Vote app, do both, do the counterplan. Doesn't solve. No constitutional basis for using the plan to overturn auto taxation is an Article 1 power that requires both houses of Congress and the Constitution. The counterplan causes the court to overturn Article 1. Lack of coherent reasoning means it's not enforceable and no precedential value. Dragic 44. Lasting authority of a decision depends on the quality of its reasoning. The task of researching requiring the law requires precedential value. The prior decisions to be ascertainable, but it fiats a constitutional crisis that ends the court. Perjury 18. Judicial review is viable so long as only officials respect the border constitutional system. Nothing will respect faster than the perception that judiciary is political. Judicial review differs from a carefully crafted legal order of checks and balances. When we upset that order by allowing the bridges to oversight, we possible legal unravel with disasters here and have not yet reached the level of full constitutional crisis because the Supreme Court has declined to participate. Can't solve advantage 1. Fiating a crisis fiats uncertainty. That's a vital internal link to our trust advantage. Can't solve 2024. It's not legislative hardball. Instead, it turns it into a confrontation between the branches over something completely asinine. It distracts Biden's focus and also curbs his power. The advantage counterplan. Can't solve Biden can't win through elections with increases domestic projects international weakness and advance populism that risks nuclear conflict at Timons and Dresner. It's unenforceable and causes civil war. Moyne 23. If the court were to exclude Trump, it would have disastrous consequences. Having accepted court decision rejecting Trump's candidacy to be a repeat of violence and purposes section 3 was to stabilize after a civil war, not cause another one. Efforts to disqualify Trump could make him more popular than ever. Perm do both, perm do the counterplan, perm do the plan, and any combination of the planks. Can't solve retirement insecurity. Social security is the third rail, and privatization subjects benefits to volatility and leakage because of Code 23. Private investments are riskier. That's why they promise high returns and comparing return stocks with social security. Privatizers don't include much costly administrators. Millions of small accounts. Few people are sophisticated investors who are hard to make mistakes, so their investments get to skin by at the top and to the experience on the bottom. Stock fluctuations earnings can lead to poor rhetoric. Perception is key. Uncertainty alone means they don't solve that shopping. Can't solve 2024. They wrecked Bush and PCSM 23. Bush proposed privatizing large majorities of public trust found immediately opposed his efforts. Emory proposed his plan to public support. Trump have discovered the poll showing support for privatization is awarded. Plays an important role. The poll commission by big rates of false equivalence between the secure social security benefit and seen as investing questions between the logical level of risk. Able to retirement cuts from markedly different results in privatization causes benefit cuts. So Code 23. There's a funding crisis. Privatization would have to problems only one transition problem. Trust funds already been started in place like government bonds and current revenues available. These are needed for benefits that fund diverge to private accounts of benefits must be cut. Not going for AI, climate, or social trust doesn't solve crisis diplomacy. It's about style, not substance. Other countries still retaliate if Trump can't press the nuclear button. That's Emory. Doesn't solve miscalc. Both sides absent clear communication. Think that the other is already struck. Nullifying NFU, populism, and deglobalization are not about the U.S. unilaterally and intentionally escalating conflict. Perm do the plan in the NFU plan. It solves their dissats. Election reform doesn't solve Biden's losing the popular votes. That was explained on case, but either way, it doesn't give Biden something to campaign on, which means that he'll be unpopular. So I call K. The debate is about the unique consequences of someone advocacy. That's best safe for innocent framework means the 1AC lowers the bar for neg office finding flaws with it. B clash there's an infinite number of prior questions and then can introduce after the 1AC to avoid it. Perm do both double blind. If they can overcome coloniality and squo that all never solves it, they can. They overcome the inclusion of the app. They fake all see to be are bad. They skew out confidence and undermine engagement. Case outweighs and turns the K. Trump resents indigenous sovereignty and rights. Indigenous nations would benefit from better retirement security, and war makes indigenous life hell. They don't even try to help indigenous people outside the U.S. That takes action against their preventable deaths. So all does not expand social security and include Biden playing legislative hardball over the bill, so it can't solve. Viewing settlers is ontological, essentializes native experiences, budget for 18. There's steps into inventing settlers, decolonization, structural perspective, closes down possibilities, political transformation, only solutions, decolonization, where adherence, there's a possibility of operational weakness, whereby logic is omnipresent, even when it appears not to be settler colonialism is one sort to tell either total victory or total distinction upstarts the possibility of entering decolonized relationship fatalism, verifies settler colonialism as a meta-structure where colonial relations of domination are inevitable, ontology or race agency, but with politics, that's any discussion is assimilationist, disallows the possibility of counterpoints and alliances, comes close to resistance is acquiescence, rates. Rate hikes are thumb Sony 11.2. The Fed briskly resorts to rein in inflation, though through it all GDP numbers will come in hot because everything's been strong in the job market, showing few signs of weakening the economy. Whether they switched to rate hikes in 40 years due to a long period of low rates following great decisions, the outlook for equities is an ominous. Rates may feel high, but they're tame relative to history. Another reason for resilience, the large share of households and businesses that have locked in borrowing costs don't need to roll over the debt. Higher interest rates once mortgage recession rates are not excessively high. They just feel high relative to zero. Interest rate 5% is closer to average than ultra high. Current benefit increases thumb AP 12 Stony 6. Millions of Social Security recipients will have a 3.2% increase of COLA or more than $50 every month, bringing in January beneficiaries to receive an 8.7% increase this year. Rate hikes prevent recession. The Fed is an aggressive aggressive enough now. Schwartz 1:11:2. Is the Fed's optimism very extreme? There doesn't seem to be enough evidence to stop hikes. Employment inflation are so too high and continue to rise. And rate cuts too early in the economy overheats can lead to the worst recession since the Great Depression. A premature halt in raising the rates could saturate the market with cheap credit and lead to reckless investments, creating a bubble. When the bubble bursts, its economy thrown in the gutter. Benefit expansion is counter-cyclical. Quimby 21. The same nature of Social Security insulates recipients from macroeconomic conditions. Workers reduce their spending response to shocks. Soaring demand retirees have no such fluctuations. Benefits may maintain spending regardless of economic conditions. Social Security smooths engine income by providing stable spending with cyclical borrowing, payroll tax financing, priority expansion to spend more in recession. No impact, uniqueness, delayed impact of past rate hikes in recession is inevitable. Summers 119. When the Fed began tightening, pandemic stimulus was flowing, consumers had savings. It seems unlikely the conditions will persist. Inflation never fall in the U.S. as far as it has during the cycle. Without recession, forward-looking indicators signal the good news nearing an end. There will be a lag when the rate hikes enacted. When the hike impacts the economy from 12 to 18 months, the recession was not avoided by pushing to 2024. Leading indicators remain negative. Recession is likely in 2024 due to high interest rates later. Lending signals slow down in consumer spending. Inflation, black swans, housing markets, and geopolitical events make it likely. Maxwell, 12:18. Despite the Fed's intention to lower rates in 2024, we've seen times during the past rate reductions far from certain key scenarios because for the Fed to hike rate, if we see an expected increase in CPI or PPI, we can see higher rates of housing activity drop 30%. That could change with the mortgage rate drops. That translates first home buying, lease prices Fed may raise rates word increases can push up inflation. That might lead the Fed to raise the rate of forced expenditures such as cost of supply constraint. Any scenario that vision could trigger higher rates. No emerging tech impacts. Session 19. The history of tech counsels against alarmism. Tech did not live up to their promise and have countervailing effects. Temper consequences for emerging tech will cause sudden change. Politics should be treated with caution. A few reshape the conflict. The most innovations and managed to incremental sense of spirit despite hype tech takes decades to emerge as airplanes and tanks to illustrate its history. The accelerate the effects of tech today's tech have a contradictory effects of destabilizing under some conditions, stabilizing and other factors mediate the effects, geography, material power, strategy, domestic politics, and culture. Trump's second term triggers U.S. China war clues 23. Trump then to pull out whether he would is nothing mere possibility and settle NATO, non-NATO allies may conclude America is not to be trusted. The same that made Tim China to attack Taiwan or South China Sea fragmentation disarm and manifest the world would refer to the 3 series of war China will fight for U.S. supremacy. Open for cross.
Reasons you have the game.
Process picks.
Process picks, cool. The rate CA, the indie card you read that says Social Security is a stabilizer, it says that the spending of Social Security is constant. Why is that spending not inflationary?
Yeah, so that's referring to what Social Security does to spend out of recessions. It's not inflationary because the taxation element of it increases proportionally when the economy is doing well. The payroll tax is a percentage of people's income. When incomes are rising, the tax counteracts the inflationary effect of Social Security.
Okay, so it's just like a tax to solve argument.
Not just a tax to solve argument, also the argument that benefits during times of recession proportionally do more to help people spend out of it. So
Okay.
yes, it's a counter-cyclicality argument, as we've tapped in.
The Maxwell evidence you read is a month old. Why none of these inflation black swans, the housing market, or geopolitical events trigger a recession yet?
Because the whole point of a black swan is that it's unexpected, it could happen at any time.
Okay, but the Gaza conflict has worsened, and we still have not seen widespread economic consequences. Why is that the case?
Again, a black swan means you don't know if it'll have an effect or not. Maybe that one didn't, the next one might.
So what could possibly be the next black swan?
Sure, so there could be supply constraints, there could be world events like world wars, there could be mortgage rates dropping, there could be increases in the CPI for urban wages, there could be housing activity dropping, all sorts of things.
The Cheshire evidence is just about how there's not tech alarmism is wrong. Why does it apply to our internal link about deterrence?
Not just about tech alarmism. It says that tech for the military illustrates that it's easy to exaggerate the effects of tech on military improvement. So sometimes people think oh, tech is going to save the military. Tech is going to make conflict change the stakes of the conflict. No, that's just hype.
I mean, it's just talks about how it took decades for airplanes and tanks to be to emerge and have effects. Why is that the same thing for things like hypersonics, AI, quantum?
Right. So that's a historical example, but the second paragraph says that even if today's tech might be a little more destabilizing, it still has contradictory effects where it can be destabilizing in some conditions, stabilizing in others, and it's impossible to
what
tell.
What are those conditions where emerging tech can be stabilizing?
Yeah, emerging tech can be stabilizing when it helps with it can be stabilizing when it helps de-escalate.
How? What examples of emerging tech de-escalate?
Yeah, there could be actually not sure the card has a warrant for that. It's fine.
Alright. This clue card about Trump causing wars just says he's not perceived as credible to defend NATO. Why does that cause a war with China?
Again, it says that if China sees that Trump is being mean to NATO and NATO's abandoning them, they'll conclude that America's word isn't to be trusted, and then they will be able to attack the South China Sea because they do not fear NATO retaliation, do not fear American strength or retaliation.
Trump's made a lot of claims about NATO, but has not made claims about not wanting to defend Taiwan. Why are Taiwan and NATO perceived the same way?
Yeah, because it's just perceived as the U.S. abandoning every single one of its allies under Trumpist protectionism.
I want to see the China thing. Okay. The like Trump comments.
Can you check if the red marker was in the 2C or if it was a different number in the rates DA? Yeah. MARK. Actually, it's okay. I found it. It was AP. Wait, what is it on?
431, but mine was at 10.
Oh,
So, yeah, I stopped it at 3:30.
Yeah,
So
I
that's
accidentally
same
hit
thing, yeah.
Stop the timer. So wait, what was it? 3:30.
3:30.
Yeah, okay. I'm sending it.
challenge.
Is everyone good? 2AC1 is it cancels elections. I'm kicking the Trump v. Anderson Plankton. I'm kicking the NFU Plankton. New taxes inserted. 2AC2 is permutation to both the length and a benefit. The counterplan does not do any expansionary fiscal policy, so it cannot result in rate hikes, but the plan does. So it certainly triggers the D2AC3 permutation to the counterplan is separate. The counterplan does not expand social security, and they didn't make an argument, so if they make when we get new answers to it. And C4 permutation to any combo. Cross-plan answer to permutation to both rejected provisions. They don't specify what plans they specify the two and arguments. New answers. 2AC5 is they cancel retirement security, implementing a universal private retirement reform solves every app scenario. The plan would establish all private companies must pay into the new retirement account for all workers and mandate to pensions that massively increase the economic support of the lower bracket of the economy. That's good evidence. Their evidence concedes pensions are the only way to solve LASA is yellow when you see parts in Kill 18 with that reduction will anticipating American Dream. One of the will ever save for retirement or receive a pension in old age. They 2AC and the Zacone evidence 1 assumes a world with no social security, no federal mandate. The counterplan isn't either of those. LASA is yellow. Zacone 23 prioritizes don't include cost of the administration of the millions of small accounts for that social security system is backup pension private pension would have to adopt plus oversee assets to the counterplan doubles income from social security. Burke always 19 doubling income from social security. What do they do? Like their UP accounts fee fall with a SSAs. You could also have to draw from this earnings peak at $42,000 of doubling income comes like contribution would let the workers in. 3 years the math more C14 expansive things that raise amount to $1,000 per year making difference to workers retirement security for both less nothing in common with privatized social security. Third wave plans slightly less than 2.7% regard to COVID security shortfall plus supplies. The counterplan isn't a replacement. SSA empty. The Fed should require a provide a minimum pension within as a way to relieve the pressure of retirement incomes are often inadequate. Private plan coverage not expected to increase significantly mandatory contribution funds for investment in capital. The Fed should be responsible for enforcing compliance. 5 view the counterplan through the lens of sufficiency, even if it can't resolve every single cause of populism. Neither can the plan because there's inevitably things that stir up grievances, which means if we're able to solve confidence enough, then that's sufficient. Next, they say perception 1. The counterplan is more certain than the app SSA is due now on the brink of collapse, which inserts consequential rollback. The counterplan sets a standard that guarantees some income even without SSA. 2. It incentivizes employees to stay in or Lonnie 22. 6% of American workers say what they report even if they don't make much employee sponsored benefit. Play retirements for technically job for employees employee sponsored retirement is critical bonus shopping individuals opening job with remain averaging the number of unemployed companies are looking to retirement benefits and supporting retain talent. Talent gap is a major driver for offering the plan to third cited talent retention acquisition and top consumer long-term investment during a volatile market is important. Chauvin says 0 about social security being key. Just about retirement savings. The NSPSM evidence no link 1 assumes abolishment of social security. That's not the counterplan. NPSSM 23. While there's a place for corporate investments in retirement, it should be no supplemental foundation provided by social security not to replace it. We are the counterplan is not abolishing social security. That's when C. Cohen started for reference and voters love it. Ask him as 21. There is little polarization between Democrats and Republicans over retirement and security. Friday, voters believe that retirement security is problem. 9% say social security alone is not enough. There is a strong bipartisan agreement. Countries retirement system leaves behind the workers who need the most funding. So there's the need for Congress to take action, provide much needed support to Americans. The next account card 1 not about the counterplan assumes that federal government would be responsible for funding to its sustainable DONO. 16 voters are worried about retirement security. A universal pension would help U.S. workers save for retirement would reduce days welfare tax rate against would help to close the yawning wealth gap. Market wanting yawning wealth gap. They say privatization is cuts. It's not cuts from above. They say it can't solve a crisis. I'm kicking the NFU plank, which also answers permutation to the NFU and the plan, and also cross-plan answers to permutation to both. They say election reform can't solve. It solves the case that's meant to candidate winner takes all. Is the root cause of polarization and lack of trust because it breeds hyper-partisanship to win primaries and ensures the most ardent supporters turn out. It also causes siloing and gridlock because there's no room for diverse perspectives. I'm not extending the inequality planks that solve the institutional trust thing because they kick that advantage, but if they make it a thing again, then I can bring it back up. Advantage 1. 1 and C1, the retirement crisis is wrong. 1 faulty data is net argument. SSA caps are flawed. Does not account for improved retirement income security. It assumes staff for rising incomes is then bad, but it's not upstream. That's Anderson. There's no retirement crisis. 1 stats, elderly poverty is 8%. Down from 10% in property cuts over than making up for shortfalls, which is why they're delaying claiming social security. That's big 2 time frame. Insolvency doesn't happen until 2033, and benefits will still be paid just a little lower. 4 assets solved. They're splitting on an unprecedented levels of target holdings. 5 future paths to social security solved. It's inevitable due to the elderly go through retirement crisis. Page 22, retirement crisis is nothing more than different. For so long that we can check their new children property rate predicted 20%, which is 8%. Down from 10%. IRS found that fewer than 10%, 24% is income fell 1/3 below estimated retirement security means better. Americans don't know what it takes to go to work as a retirement plan of 16% contribution from 5 to 8 points a percent lower than their record heads and elderly clinic social security research and retirement incomes as retirement poverty lower predictions haven't been true. The impact is negligible. Temper and grade 20 feet. Concern for base guidance social security not going to be good. Millennials will pay so later not be completed in 2033 OAC would be returned with resource 76% benefits paid for payroll taxes as long as Americans working so security will pay out. Now 1 and C4, there's no populism impact. Institutions are resilient, and January 6th and 4 years of Trump proves he got almost nothing done despite being unhinged, and their evidence concedes tons of all causes: European populism, immigration, racism, and young voters. They're at Camp 18. Older Brits voted leaving the EU, Poland, Hungary, Italy, France, Pacific, along the borders, Egypt, voted out of European Parliament, immigration tends to be somewhere near attached to different bodies, building 5-star, one-way Trump criticisms, proposed whole crackdown on immigration, Muslim signals, Euro-American nations, resilience is especially true for the U.S. While on 24 conservative threats that have gone too far, democracy, the global north commands that don't return to in America, no condition, quality, a list of shocking weapons, despite some corrupt judiciary, federalist system, constitution, can be hard to change, conflict, economies are not likely to be experienced with false. Americans endure strong media populism, more dramatic, about 4 into 4 years, reported a breakdown despite efforts in the crisis, democracy is far from defenseless, political realism is firmly interested in institutionally secured, and need for alarmism, populism will be checked media. 20. System we developed institution whether it was formed to address grievances and by limiting the powers of populist institutions present and established democracies managed to arrive unwarranted panic only make things worse. Solvency is zero. Fox zombies don't care about facts, as Livingston forwards feeds this info inevitably, which means people are mobilized to hate death no matter what. It's empirically harmless or inevitable. Olsen 21 tempting to populate a decline that's not through Germany, Netherlands populist. Garner supporting rails for Italy, Finland, Spain, Belgium, against uphold naturalist supporting Sweden, Portugal, Austria. Populists are not going away. Last thing, the trade interdependence thing, I didn't answer it with terminal impact defense, but the internal link to this is distrust in institutions. They take that advantage that there's no internal link to it, and also the other internal link is populism, which we said is resilient. Advantage 2. 1 and C1 uniqueness can never be above 50% for them. It's too far out. Voters are all over the place, but the economy and anti-Trumpism outweigh everything. Their evidence about Biden not receiving credit is wrong. Being a few weeks old matters does not take into account improving consumer sentiment and anti-Trumpism more animated than everything else, which is why Biden is receiving the most votes after 2020. That's tried. Now, they say that Trump is winning. Treat their evidence as zero. Castellan is writing an extremist right-wing outlet that cherry picks polls and literally has MAGA all over their front page. Calling it consensus is a joke. He just cites opinion polling, and then one Gallup poll about popularity that has Trump just as unpopular. I'm inserting a fact check or screenshot and a link to their website. It's unhinged. Trump is weak vendor and Lair 124. Trump's campaign entering vulnerabilities makes a nomination for independence. College voters, the league voted for the league. Result pointed to purple. It's heavily to Marco. Enters a broader elected the rejected and people voted for him. Don't want Trump. Independence moderators hate him, and that always better. And Lair 124. Trump comes to a record that over 2016 Republican independence will found a way to draw them back into New Hampshire. Nearly 1 to 58% to 39%. Many voters specifically opposite to Trump said they dislike more voted than their approval. 90% said this happened to Trump. Shame circles are with 55% independence. Back in voters, a large number of Republicans not becoming home. And there's also no Trump impact. Empiricism effective can't influence bureaucracies. Attorneys are occupied by disciplinary hearings. Stand prisons, kids blocked by his own coronary checks and balances massively overwhelmed. They say that second term he'll be unchecked. Our evidence says there's institutional checks beyond the electoral checks. They say he chooses his advisors. All of our checks are about advisors or about checks that Trump doesn't get to nominate the people in. And I'll answer the China add-on that they read at the end of the day. Trump and Democrats' China policy is identical. Bellin et al. 23. Expect continuity no matter which party wins a pressure or voluntary position, trades, industrial rivalries, China intervention, consensus on foreign policy despite polarization, solid bipartisan agreement on China, British establishment, national security, time strategic rebel order, American foreign policy, regardless of which party wins the presidency in 2024. The Trump impacts overblown Cohen 19 Trump will see whether the image is limited out back on his third weird flood, paving the human relations with some allies, continuing on a very close to India, strengthened Arabia, and UAE. There's actually no big red button for Trump to press. Keller 21 and nukes.msage.com. A clear hair trigger alert is not a thing. Market, not a thing.
Okay. Open for cross?
Yep.
Can you explain the counterplans like so-called bipartisanship, privatization?
Yeah, we've read multiple cards that say that voters like the plan, or like the counter plan rather, because it increases their benefits, but it does not actually abolish Social Security.
And how does it create like a bipartisan coalition in Congress though?
I don't think it has to create a bipartisan coalition in Congress.
So it's not supported by Republicans?
You said the plan's not supported by Republicans. It merely needs to be popular with the swing voters that you've kind of identified.
So
as
you
ones
have
that
to
would
win
be swayed.
popularity among Democrats in Congress though?
No, you've established that your internal link is like getting swing voters on board. Democrats
Yeah,
probably already
through
voting
congressional
for Biden.
negotiations. How does the counterplan Like, how is it
Congressional
popular in
negotiations are
Congress?
not important for the internal link. It just
It
really is a
very much is.
policy
The
that's
entire
popular.
scenario is about seeing what happens in Congress, citizens seeing that and changing
Your
their vote based on it.
evidence-
How does the counter plan?
All of your internal link evidence identifies that like voters love Social Security, they love retirement benefits.
Okay,
If
that is
Biden merely
factually a
had
lie. Our
legislative
Cancun
victory
evidence
on
and Allman
retirement
evidence says that
benefits.
congressional action is key to change the media narrative around like Biden and Republican stances on Social Security. I'm going to ask again, how is the counter plan viewed in Congress?
That's just wrong. Your evidence says he needs a legislative victory. The counterplan's
Yeah,
a
in
legislative
Congress.
victory because it passes through Congress. It's
Yeah,
widely
with whose
perceived and popular
support?
with
With
voters.
whose support? I'm asking you with whose support does it pass in Congress with?
Our evidence doesn't describe like exactly which people in Congress support it, but it says that it's popular with swing voters, which are the key people that Biden needs a legislative
Okay,
victory.
but I'm not asking you about which voters. We have already addressed that. I'm asking you which Congress people.
We haven't read a piece of evidence describing who in Congress likes the counterplan, just as you have not read a piece of evidence describing who in Congress
Oh,
likes
we
the plan.
totally have our Cancun evidence and our Allman evidence. Now I'm asking you which
You're
evidence
just-
you have.
I don't think that's accurate. I think it rather says that Biden needs a legislative victory. The counterplan constitutes a
That
legislative
is
victory
not
that's
true.
popular with
Cancun is
voters.
fundamentally about
I
how
mean, you're
which
just-
congressperson
you're just,
supports
like,
the plan is
kind
key.
of saying what your evidence says. Like, we'll probably continue to disagree.
Right,
I
no, but I'm
feel like
asking you
at the
what
end of the
your
debate,
counter plan is
if they
all
read the
about. Like, I'm
cards, I
asking
think
you.
we'll come out on top.
No, I'm asking you which Congress people support your counter plan because I've
Not
told you
something
that's
we've read a
important to
card
the
about,
plan.
which I've said repeatedly.
Okay,
you have
so
not
you
read a
have
card
zero
about that
cards.
either. You've also not read an
I
internal link that
have.
says passing something that like Republicans hate is specifically necessary.
Okay, totally
You've read
have.
tons of
Cancun.
lines in your evidence that says it's the perception of Biden getting a victory that hands people greater benefits. The counterplan
Okay,
gives
I
them
think
those
you're wrong,
benefits.
but we can talk about uniqueness. Just to be clear, you only read the vendor and lyric card?
I read both the first vendor card and the second vendor card.
Okay, perfect. So you said on the Trump defense that he's ineffective because of checks. Can you describe those checks on him?
Yeah, so our evidence mentions a couple. So like, there's like, he can't influence the bureaucracy. He's too occupied with disciplinary hearings. His policies get blocked.
Okay.
People in the government.
106. It's the K, the legislative veto counter plan, the SDA.
Give me a second.
Yeah, we're good.
K, concede the permutation theory as the test competition theories reason direct the argument on the team of legislative veto. Concede permutation competition theories are not team of the rate game. Tech leadership outweighs dominance, deters Chinese economic and territorial revisionism. Otherwise, weakness greenlights aggression that erodes the LAO and causes incursions in Taiwan and the FES, causes nuclear escalation. Tech growth innovation key to maintain dominance. That's Cronin again. The link alone turns case 1 turns election higher rate cost by the election. No 1217 all rate cost of spending holiday 2 in the White House. Improve prospects for softening are being provided bid while falling rates. Bolster close out to voters. Trump with an edge on the economy. Bid 1% to 30% rates could go a long way towards addressing discontent and continued low inflation is key to dismantling Trump's winning. Stein 125 White House advisor launching a political economy strength to flip on the president. Biggest vulnerabilities reflects a renewed confidence of economic analysis reporting by the fact that they're always race the economy is doing very well. Broad everything of the economy was well and appeared to be the 10 most effective weapon. The GDP has been difficult inflation on falling to 3% and 2 turns population inflation is regressing. Powers King 23 on inflation prices and wage rise of value and decline. High historical evidence that strongly suggests a causal link public attitude. Matter peanut and whole inflationary damage and model projectability regardless of evidence on completion makes big mistake reward debtors punishes creditors bid of person process of brief and stress out public demands actually for the suffering. Tracy 1 is very high thumbed. 1 is about recession, which is not tech innovation, which is our impact. And 2 tech companies are stable now because they have refinanced down when rates were low in 2020, but continued high rates for any future investments. Sunshine 23 yellow market expects the Fed to keep rates higher get long dated up on. Although the price of earnings hasn't quite been the case, tech valuations have been identified higher years. Tech companies have reduced borrowing costs by managing debts and growing their profits have provided major boost to value and valuations. Have tech locked in new borrowing rates for low. Look at those companies lower their rates in the process. And 3 studies prove that forcing the Fed to combat inflation reduces tech innovation. EPAs for every 1% tightening got cost R&D by 3%, of venture capital spending 25%, reduces patents and important tech 9%, Schneider 23. Deficits lower face and undermine investments and innovative tech will make the economy stronger. According to research, Chicago found 1% of cuts R&D, with 3% research, reduced venture capital, 25% reduced patents, and 9% curbing inflation. On productive capacity, hit to demand that leave companies with less incentive to innovate, higher risk, make safer investments more attractive, and sap risk appetite. Two is benefits. This says benefits increase because of cost of living adjustments. They increase in line with inflation. They have to increase more a little bit each every year to keep up with inflation. But the plan increases the cost of living adjustments that benefits more than just keeping up with inflation. And topics are priced in by the market. Rocket 24 looking ahead to 2024, while interest rate hike push the U.S. into recession. The next major source of geopolitical instability. All questions are interconnected. U.S. could lead to decreasing global rates. Higher inflation amounted to a de facto 10% default on debt. One of an economic review without severe consequences. 2AC3 is rates off recession. 1 is from November, says that cutting rates was bad then. Does not apply now when inflation has declined since one cause recession. And 2, no impact. They don't have recent recessions are bad. Hold the line on new one ARR, because otherwise I would have read a card. 2AC the 4 is a link, and I'll do the link here. 30 years up in peers of proof that when Social Security benefits increase, that results in an increase in demand that leads to inflation and forces the Fed to raise interest rates. That's a Romer card. Quimby is a neg link card. It says that retirees, quote, maintain spending regardless of economic conditions. The risk of spending overshoot causes permanently higher rates. Are impacted in recession, so there's no upside to higher spending, just a risk of the link. And it's about Social Security and the status quo. Marginal benefit increases don't matter for the overall effect. And records confirm that the Fed expects inflation regardless of policy details. Number 16. Social Security increases were regular in timing and not part of a larger programs that increases raise aggregate consumer spending. Impact is highly statistically significant. Tax changes are persistent and affect broader indicators. Evidence from the Fed records confirm the monetary policymakers believe benefit increases stimulate the economy and call for contractionary response. Results suggest a permanent increase impact on the broader economy. Results of previous studies, the effects received and immediate results in automatic rate hikes. Rodriguez 18 of global Social Security benefits increase trigger positive aggregate expenditure. Businesses like policymakers see increases as extensionary. Government response to increase in Social Security is automatic. Contribute to higher inflation. Document following those meetings states that Social Security at the disposable income level get into spending on the string of fairly promptly. While Social Security yields a significant increase in productivity to store labor, so applying increase in benefits generate inflationary pressures that induce monetary policy to heighten or then they say taxes, but our study counts for Roman 14 including tax action that involves a substantial change in income, payroll, or excise taxes, controlling for taxes and no effect on the estimated impact of an increase in Social Security benefits. The impact is slightly larger when tax changes are included after 7 months of impact on consumption. A benefit of 1% of income is 0.02% not controlling for taxes and 0.02 controlling for taxes. 2C5 is I'll do lenient because here rate cuts are coming now. The economy is due for a soft landing. The PCE, the preferred measure of inflation for the Fed, only was 0.2% the lowest in 3 years. Continued inflation is key. That's the real. There's no evidence on response to recession doesn't take out our impact. And 2, no recession. Brandon or 125 because of soft landing for economy. For the U.S. economy, there's no all GDP reports show economic growth after change with inflation falling sharply. However, results from activity across the economy plus consumption rising business spend and a solid place for labor market productivity gains. Supply side innovation in the economy can keep growing without new risking pressures. 2AC6 is black swans. 1 is months old. 2 they're not coming. The 4 warrants inflation rate is now France and press 128 Fed is expected to cut rates. Certain cuts are coming. Policymakers expect that 3/4 percentage point cuts are probably discussed long enough and began cutting rates. Although things a little bit of premature Fed and favored by measures for inflation dip below 3% of raising expectations can bring down inflation without causing a recession. Next one is housing. Wrong Rossi at all 128 2023 demoralizing mortgage rotating up high 7.9% average monthly payments at highest level ever 2024 better year to purchase industry experts are expect prices to soften and no geopolitics in 23 growth on each side of 4% of cycle to play in the war prices couple years ago where alternative sources of energy are catching on major indexes growth analysis the markets have already digested implication market looks and I said we've seen this before in fact into the constrained rates in the Russell 2000 index of small gap companies over 0.06%. There's no emerging tech impact. They said in cross sectors you should prefer the specificity of the chronic evidence. They have no reason why it can be stabilizing because of AI, hypersonics, etc.
5:35.
Yeah. 26 the time.
Yeah.
5:35 now. Can you kick planks on the advantage counterclaim?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I think I did that, so.
Well, oh, whoops. True.
Bye.
Oh, then get in. Although, I mean, like,
They're gonna reject it.
does
Yeah.
pilot process slot number 20 really change the game? No, it's not.
I've never kept that.
Okay. Well,
Actually,
then
Mia,
whatever
let's
you're
use
working
your
on,
doc.
That is true, everything I did for everything.
Okay.
2024 Advantage Counter Plan rates.
Is it sent or sending it?
It is sent.
(2024) Advantage Counterplan rates.
Yeah.
This guy.
Is anyone not ready?
I'm downloading it, sorry.
Sorry. Okay.
Alright. On 2024, Trump wins Castleman cites a polling consensus declining support from base voters. Historically low approval ratings and trends show it's getting worse. Biden loses in a landslide. Even with economic improvement, Biden won't get credit. Consumer sentiment is higher, but voters still blame Biden for higher prices. That's Financial Times. Legislative hardball shifts the media narrative. That's remembering Trump's ahead with independent voters by 11 points. Timothy Joe 118. Trump is leading Biden independent voters by 11 points. Trump and beat Biden head to head in a matchup by 4 points with all voters and changing demographics for Feeney 117. Filtering Trump's series winner Biden weak numbers. He regularly beat Biden head to head. The Democratic coalition made in the general election frontier black Latino young voters appear to be leading Biden's party in the droves of Trump supporting voters. Age 18 to 29 fewer polls despite losing them by 24 points in 2020 is reaching 20% among black voters. And Biden won't get credit for economic improvement. Canada 111. Biden's good news on the economy, but voters don't seem to be buying it. Consumer areas of strength where what they don't feel good about is that high prices and continue to wait out White House messaging haven't moved the needle so far. And answering checks has drops the ball. Ginger Murray says that it's about Trump's style, not his policy. Even if he can't press the nuclear button, he will act and all erratic as if he can let triggers let other countries strike and on the advantage counter plan. Election reform isn't solved. Drop that Biden will lose the popular vote now, so abolishing the electoral college doesn't matter. We aren't going for the democracy impact to extend NCPSSM, and even the word privatization is a trigger for older voters who oppose it. Pearson Bush proved that it's a reverse Midas touch for presidents. The more they talk about, the worse their chances get. They don't perceive Social Security still being there, and privatization is politically diverse on both sides. 80% hated of like 1222. Push to privatize the voters opposing efforts. Only 15% wish to privatize Social Security. Opposing it across age groups. Democrats ability to protect Social Security. It ultimately conceding insurance voters across party lines are on their side. And then NPCSSM also proves Republican support privatization between Bush is the one that made it up. That's bad. Doesn't create the necessary distinction between Republicans and the dental Social Security that villainizes the GOP. That's all money cankering. Solving 2024 requires a clear distinction on Kariaja 23. We Biden's approval, saying Democrats want the president to make expansion of 2024 campaign. It would give the Biden chance to build himself a protector in his Republican opposition opponent as threat. The only weakness the Democrats have is Social Security is not enough to show people to know it's them. The way to the Republicans even more on the back foot to draw an incredibly clear distinction. The Democrats want to expand Republicans and want to cut in a fight is key. Diaz Roth at 23. Charles polling on one thing became clear: Social Security needs to be front and middle voters up to 2024 voters not perceive a difference between Biden and Trump, given the muddy waters. The Democrats and insurers advance Social Security's top issue by embracing popular policy. Republicans will fight the taxing the wealthy, says bipartisan support with 79% of support among the independent vote. Independents when voters understand the Democrats will expand Social Security by taxing the trust and Democrats or Republicans on the economy by 12 when they hear the Republicans will do the opposite and support increases by plus 23-point margin on rates. Bidenomics is not sticking with the public. They perceive the crisis to be high now and will blame Biden for the high rates. Inevitably, Social Security changes the focus. That's cankering. Economy won't matter. Cohen 23. Trump received no boost from the economy reports to weaken the relationship because people's love the punishment of the own party president of the economy goes south. And according to 2022 midterm exit poll data, 76% of voters have a negative view on the economy, and yet Democrats dramatically overperform. Data Zappa, Wall Street's 23. Lower opinion, the economy has become less predictive of the outcome in 2018. The White House has lost control of the House, and despite a robust economy by 2022, and reporting inflation doesn't doom Democrats. In a recent poll found that 41% of Americans approve of the economy, yet against Trump. Biden is 48% of those disapprove of the economy are voting him anyway. And then benefit expansion is stumped. AP says that the COLA is soaring higher than before and projects more increases. That affects how every benefit is indexed, and COLAs have increased consistency for the past 3 years. So, chart that's Lapidus 23. Romer Zaffa concludes that the scenario is stumped. It states that there have been several social security benefit expansions in the past and triggers rate hikes. Those didn't cause a recession, and Romer's study fails. Robustness checks is LT20. Romer proposes that the rate increases the rate in response to Social Security. Social Security increases where there's some evidence is not very robust, and also is only based on a study from period 1980-1990 that's different fed in different economic conditions. They mishandled the China tech add-on, maybe policy on China deterrence was saving them versus GOP, but that's not our internal link. Trump alienates specifically add-on that emboldens China to attack the SES and mishandled session. We conceded tech isn't stabilizing, but they dropped the word that military tech is not transformative. It's all hype means inflate the tax rates. And the net has red impacts of inflation, not a rate hike, but rate hikes solve inflation. They are better than preventing a recession, employment, and inflation high now. The only other hike that can solve the economy from overheating stops hikes because it's inevitable bubble to form in the economy is thrown in the gutter when it bursts at Schwartz, and failure to hike causes recession. That's summer's 19. But for major increase in Social Security real rates, would it be significantly negative, suggest with a substantial ground for secular stagnation and traditional levels of rates and a policy perception reception policy measures will the output being demanding constrained the five policies and reduce savings. There is a question of whether enough room can be generated. Say that the economy downward is the total effects of low rates. Mark the card at rates of 330.
How much tea this year?
Nothing's tea.
Yeah.
It sucks.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna delete my pile. It's pointless.
Oh.
It's,
That hurts.
Yeah. It's a good pile though.
That hurts.
Oh, yeah. It's a arctic thing.
Yeah.
Like we're all slop.
It's fine.
Yeah, it's fair. Actually, yeah, we're thinking of this. The plan was to read something else. It was like a few Sonics.
Yeah.
And they're going to save that against them. So they were
Yeah.
put
The order is the rates decide, the advantage counterplan, the populism advantage, and then the elections advantage. Aren't this down?
Can you say that one more time?
Yeah, it's the disad, the counterplan, populism, and then elections.
Good.
Is everyone good?
Yeah.
Tech leadership constraints, nuclear war, Chinese technological dominance, collapses, deterrence, and imbalance power, tech investments, and growth speed to outcompete China and emerging and military technologies, failure, greenlights, and bold incursions into Taiwan and SCS, and independently Russia exploits US weakness to invade Europe, conflicts escalate and go nuclear. That's the current evidence. Trump's case is credible. Rate cuts could flip the election. Trump is way better pulling on the economy. Soft landing is a boon for Biden that addresses voters' discontent, but only if rate cuts happen. That's the Miller evidence. The economy is the most decisive issue. That's the sign evidence. Trump is weaponizing inflation as a campaign tool, but continued low inflation results in him losing it and becoming a tool for Biden. If they're right that Biden does not get credit for it, then it applies just as much to the plan, because insofar as because the way that voters also perceive the plan is through Bidenomics, because it increases the benefits that they get. Cohen is about the 2020 election and midterms does not assume current political conditions that are successful because of abortion in the midterms. Even if the economy was bad, they say Walter's polls are old insights data from June that says Biden is ahead despite the economy being bad. Does not assume new developments. Other words in the midterms answered and above. Now the next argument they say is benefits are thumbed. This is incorrect. This is about yearly COLA expansions, which is not the same as expanding Social Security benefits. The benefits are the same, but inflation increases the benefits just increase a little bit so that they keep up with inflation. But that is not inflationary in and of itself, because it's just keeping pace with the rest of the economy. But our evidence is about the actual expansion of the baseline benefits, i.e., the actual benefits, not accounting for inflation. Now, the Social Security expansion causes rate hikes. One is empiric sets around more evidence that increases demand and is inflationary. The 2EC reads the link cards for us. The sports evidence says that boosts spending, which means that even if they're right that the perception link is wrong, it will be inflationary in and of itself, which forces the Fed to hike rates. Second is perception triggers the link. That's the evidence that the Federal Reserve believes that Social Security expansion stimulates the economy, which causes them to hike rates because they think that they cannot do it they cannot do it anymore. They say the Romer evidence says that Social Security expansions were in the past. No, this is all Social Security expansions that happened before this year when Social Security was actually expanded beyond COL. So it obviously doesn't thump, because our internal link is about how the tech industry is uniquely inclined to collapse and raise our hikes. They say that the Romer evidence is bad. They do not have a study to the contrary. It just proves that our study is not perfect. It's not perfect, but they don't have any link evidence that answers it. But you should also frame it to the fact that they have read evidence that the plan increases spending, which means that the link is guaranteed. They say that it's a different Fed. Obviously, it's a different Fed. They can only measure the way that the Fed responded when they actually expanded Social Security benefits. So there's no other data that could possibly assume the current Federal Reserve. But the Federal Reserve's fundamental calculus stays the same, because the Social Security expansion is inflationary. They say the China tech add-on is wrong. There's no China war from Trump. If we win the case defense, that Trump will win this and independently takes out, because it proves that they can't solve. But second, China perceives them as the same. That's the realm evidence. Democrats and Trump have identical policy on deterring China trade, foreign policy, all of it. They'll keep the same exact trade policy, which means there's no risk of perceived weakness, and it also answers the warrant that Trump is uniquely bombastic or likely to start a war. He is just as likely to intervene in Taiwan and the SES as Democrats are, which means that China materially does not perceive any difference. They say that military technology is not transformative. Yes, it is. First is, even if it's not, China perceives it does, which is the chronic evidence. They believe that it changes the balance of power, which will cause them to invade Taiwan. Second is military technology changes the balance of power. It strengthens their military because things like AI are able to preempt U.S. weapons. They say that rate hikes solve inflation. This says it solves recessions. Recessions are irrelevant because no one's read a terminal impact to a recession, so there's only a risk that it collapses. This tech stock studies prove that the Schneider evidence it reduces investment, R&D, and spending, and venture capital funding. Rate hikes cause investors to seek safer investments and pay off more, so they don't invest in tech companies. But there's also no uniqueness for this anyway, because they have conceded that recessions are not going to happen in the status quo, which is the Brown evidence, which says that they're achieving a soft landing. The advantage kind of plan. Concede the permanent just test competition theories, reason to reject the argument. That's the team. Advantage 1. They've dropped destruction is inevitable. This answers the internal link to elections because they can't reverse perceptions even if the app solves one grievance. Fox News incites new and white supremacy and extremism, drive populism. Fox News and disinfo destroy app solvency even if they resolve one grievance. New ones get incited. They will spin the plan as a socialist tax site. That's a Livingston. This applies to the election advantage. It does not matter if the plan is polling well now. It's a question of how Fox News will actually spin it, and they can't make new answers because it was extended in the 2T. The advantage. Or other advantage. Trump will lose the election now. Anti-Trumpism remains just as strong.
strong as 2020 when Biden received the most votes ever. That describes evidence. Moderates will vote for Biden. New Hampshire proves Haley at 38% support. And exit polls show these voters voted for her because they don't like Trump, and tons of independent registers as Republicans just so they can vote against Trump. That's the burner evidence. Their Councilman evidence is from something called the Association of Mature American Citizens that has far-right bias, cites no polls, and their website is littered with pro-MAGA things. It's clearly tilted. Now the first evidence about the moderates, it cites polls. Those are bad, and they don't apply that far out. That's the tribe's evidence. This means the advantage can never be higher than 50%, and you should prefer analysis of the actual incentives, breakdowns of moderates and swing voters over evidence that just cites the polls as a whole, because polls are never predicted this far out, but there's also independently checks. Trump is ineffective. They say that it's about style. That's wrong. He can't influence the bureaucracy, which means the policy materially doesn't change, but his advisors are also going to check. His policies will get blocked by court nominees, and checks and balances already overwhelmed, which means that his style is able to overwhelm because other countries still perceive the rest of the U.S. government as being committed to alliances.
Okay.
We have 135 starting now.
No, it's okay, thank you. All right. 2024 rates. Thanks. Good? Alright. I will start in a couple seconds. Our impact is the only one untouched by defense, and it's most probable Trump's fire and fury crisis diplomacy fuels tensions with North Korea, China, or Russia that causes existential nuclear-grade power. Let's Kimball, it's triodide, it's one, a faster impact. The whole point of emerging tech is that it is emerging. It will take forever, at least, before it changes the stakes of battlefield. The 2024 impact happens within the year. It means that every single person dies because of an existential nuclear war that is triggered by Kimball extremely quickly. Two, we are more probable we have impact defense to their impact. They don't have impact defense to the style aspect of Kimball and Emory. I'll get there when I get there on the flow. They say perception inevitable because of Fox News and disinformation. This cross-application was new. I get new extrapolation. It is not about independent voters, which we have read evidence on the uniqueness debate that those are key. Yes, maybe the far-right people were unable to convince them, but moderate Republicans and the independent voters will switch their votes. We have read tons of evidence on the counterclaim that they dropped that we can cross-apply here. It says that independents and moderates will uniquely switch their vote once the Republicans look villainized in the media because they have been proven to be evil, Social Security hating losers. And it's specifically about the media. Our Karyaga card says that media focus changes when the plan happens. Media focus includes all the news syndicates and disinformation that their cards are referencing. Biden also loses now. Trump wins. Castleman cites a polling consensus. Maybe the website overall is bad, but it cites a bipartisan Gallup poll that is a consensus that gets around all the concerns with polls being bad. Declining support from base voters, historically low approval ratings, and trends show it's getting worse. Biden loses in a landslide. Even with economic improvement, Biden won't get credit. Consumer sentiment is higher, but voters still blame Biden for the higher prices. That's Financial Times, which they did not indict. Only legislative hardball shifts the media narrative. That's Remmer. The Timotisia evidence says that Trump is leading Biden with independent voters by 11 points,
which is key. Trump beat Biden by 4 points with all voters. Ruffini says changing demographics prove that Trump is already getting better numbers with Black, Latino, and young voters, and that Democratic coalition was used to be key to Biden's win. Biden also won't get credit for the economy. Our Kemp card says that Biden is not selling it, and consumers do not recognize strength. They don't feel good about it. And also star the Kemp card because it's about indicators like the economy. It's not just based on polls, which means that this still states by unscathed even if you don't buy our polling consensus argument. Either way, they also relied on polls, so you have to cross out all their polls evidence. Checks drops the ball. Emory says it's about Trump's style, not his policy. Even if he can't press the nuclear button, he will act erratic. If he can, that triggers another country striking us. It's not about Trump first strike, which means checks don't matter. No evidence that checks are perceived by other countries. That is literally just Eleanor Barrett, 24. You should not trust it because she has an incentive to lie to win the debate. Rates. Inflation does not turn the election. Our evidence is astronomically better than theirs. Even if the claim sounds more intuitive, Bidenomics is not sticking with the public. Inevitably, they perceive prices to be high now and will blame Biden for high rates. Inevitably, Social Security changes the focus. That's Cankred and Financial Times. This does not apply equally to the app because the app is perceived as social spending and as a retirement insecurity issue, not as an economic or Bidenomics issue. Cankred says that the plan changes the focus of the election away from something Biden will inevitably lose on to something that Biden has the potential to win on. They dropped Deseroth from the counterclaim cross-apply here. It says that Social Security changes the metrics and means that that support for the Democrats on economics increases by a 23-point margin. Cohen says that Trump receives no boost from the economy and neither does Biden. It's not actually that effective. Walter says that the data's app on economy. It never actually makes a difference empirically. They drop the benefit increases are thumped. Romer's only based on a study from a period of 1980 through 1990. That's a different vet and different economic conditions. Her study is not robust. That's a technical term in statistics. That means there's no confidence that the study can be replicable and applied to this period. That's zealotry. They did not extend the link besides Romer, so you don't let them get one. The ability of the study to be applied empirically is disproven by the fact that the COLA has been increasing for Social Security. Benefits have been increasing, yet there is no corresponding rate hike. That's AP. Laponzi says that they've been steadily increasing for years, no corresponding rate hike each time. The Romer cards themselves do not make a distinction between the COLA and benefit increases. Again, that is just Eleanor Barrett, 24. You should reject it. And our AP evidence says that the COLA affects how every rate is indexed, which means that there's a ton of money being pumped into the economy. And it also says that the COLA is increasing faster than inflation, which means it should have been perceived as an economic effect. But even if you don't want to vote on this, we access their impact. They mishandled the add-on. Maybe policy on China deterrence was the same Democrat versus GOP, but that is not our internal link. Trump alienates NATO specifically, and that is what emboldens China to attack the SCS or Taiwan, which causes nuclear great power with war with China. That's clue. That means we totally access their internal, but we have defense to the way that they access the internal link, which proves our internal link to China is stronger and faster. They mishandled Sesher. We conceded tech isn't stabilizing, but they dropped the warrant that military tech is not transformative. That's all hype meant to inflate the tech race and to lead to more people buying into the tech industry. It's all tech media hype. Yeah, they said case defense removes the add-on would be the case. They say China perceives Democrats and Republicans the same. That's not true. That's not in the evidence. It's also not about perception. It's just about military deterrence in their evidence, which only NATO is key to militarily deter. That's true. Good debate. Good debate. Cards out. We'll be there in a couple seconds.
Yeah.
be great.
The incessant giggling is kind of annoying.
You got it. Good check.
I'll make sure to contain my giggling in the future.
No, I love your giggling.
Yeah.
Gabe's not as much. Gabe's more of a chuckler.
Chortler? Yeah.
Chortle, yeah.
Big shorts.
Do you mind? My computer?
Oh yeah, go ahead. You can unplug mine. Thank you so much for letting me use this one on the thing.
Yeah.
It like requires a little, yeah.
Oh, what's that? Is it on? Wait, oh, this is not it. I just found it. Yeah.
Hey Dan, can I go talk to you in the hall for a second?
Sure.
It's about something from the street, but I just want to get rid of it. Hold on.
You're responsible if you start a fire.
I'm not responsible,
I'm running,
period.
I'm running one.
No one has ever accused me of being
My
responsible.
responsibilities as fire marshal of this debate.
No, fired marshal of this debate. You were let go 3 months ago?
I always mix those up.
Yeah, Georgia. You probably need to plug in too.
No, not for a while actually.
Okay, congrats everyone. The decision was a 3-0 for the negative. Yeah, and I can go. I was last. I think essentially for me, a little bit more risk of DA than case, but there's some risk of everything, which is a little bit more unsettling than I had hoped. I kind of started with uniqueness because this was important to me, so just like who wins the election. I think tribe is the newest and probably the best card on the polling debate. It has some predictive claims that I think answer a lot of the 1AR and 2AR pushes about the economy. The main one that I care about being that it says Biden, even though he's not successful on the economy now, he has a higher chance of getting some credit for the economy as we go forward and as we get closer to the election. Kemp and Financial Times both are just like his message hasn't been sticking so far, but the thing that's kind of predictive about the future is important to me. There's also several other warrants that aren't answered. One is anti-Trumpism, the second is abortion and reproductive rights, and the third is like the GOP state organizations are all a mess. None of those are super contextualized in terms of how important they're going to be, but like they are something that gives me some hope that maybe the Republicans won't get their stuff together. The Castleman indict did a little bit for me. It does kind of at the beginning just assert virtually all opinion polls say Trump. And like, I don't know, I went to the website, like it has an eagle. I don't know that like immediately means it's MAGA, but like.
Eagles are MAGA coded, man.
But like, yeah, like I was kind of like, this seems a little sketch. And more importantly, like I couldn't find the thing that said like, oh, this is just like a Gallup poll. So like, I don't know, I was kind of sketch on, is this actually legit? And so that indict does something. Then also like framing is just kind of neg. There's this framing the entire debate that's just like, we're super far out, polling data not great. At most I should give you like 50%. Because we really don't know. And so that combined with card quality makes me not like certain by any means, but like optimistic and somewhat confident that Biden is going to win. That kind of frames a lot of the impact debate and impact defense, but I also kind of came down like slightly neg on the Trump, does he blow up the world stuff. There's a couple things that seemed important. One is like that Posner card is pretty decent and says that his subordinates just like disobeyed him on dumb foreign policy decisions, and I think that kind of cuts back some against the style thing. One thing that would help is just like what is style? Like what are we talking about that he will do that will matter? Is it like he says something rogue one day and then like vaguely says something that's the opposite the next day? Does he like actually cancel or pull out of things that are important? So I think it would help to just know like what is style. They have this card that's just like his subordinates just don't do what he says when it comes to foreign policy when he suggests something stupid. There was some earlier stuff where you were like, he'll just pick people who agrees with him and like he'll be super emboldened. I think that stuff needs to make it into the 2AR. The framing distinction on like Trump second term versus first term, I think could maybe deal with this, but as it stands, my reading of all the ev was like, some of this says the first term proves he's not gonna be super escalatory. The card that like he's the same on China policy does something for me. But again, like I can't zap it because the AF cards are like, he might be bad, it might be scary. So I don't know, some risk of Trump stuff, but checks plus the fact that I think Biden wins makes me, have some confidence Trump's not going to cause, immediate extinction. On the DA, so for the impact, I'm a little neg. I thought about the impact defense a little bit. I think it's kind of answered by just like the basic thesis. So your Tracy impact defense card is fine for most of the time. There hasn't been a military revolution that's really changed war. But the whole thing is like competitiveness is the thing that matters. We need to make sure that America maintains our edge. And so I think that if we don't win the tech race, I'm certain that China is going to go nuts and that will cause immediate war. And so the only way I know that America can develop the countervailing tech that your 2AC defense says keeps war from escalating is if we win the tech race. The next thing I thought about is just like, does the app solve the impact anyway? Do I not need to care that much about the tech race because you have this card about Trump and China war? And I don't think it's like you solve the impact. I think there's like one potential way that we could get to a China war that maybe the AF makes me a little bit more certain that I avoid. But the neg does have big internal link. We're not really talking about tech race. I know the direction of uniqueness, the effect that will have on conflict, all of that is neg, not really talking about it. And again, it's just like, all of your impact cards are kind of like might. It's like, he might win, he might do something weird, his style might then get perceived by China, they might latch on to that and think that we won't defend Taiwan, whereas their card is just like, if we don't have the tech, like, China beats us in war, LIO dead, really bad. So a little bit more confident, I just like neg, bigger internal link to impact than F. link stuff, the Romer indite does not do as much for me as I think it needed to in the 2AR. Like it definitely says that it's, not the most robust study, that it might not always apply for every example of Social Security expansion, but I think the 2NR had some reasons that it would apply in this one. The first and probably most important thing they said is just that the effect of the plan is inflationary. Like it just expends like massive benefit increase now, and that would cause hikes. I think talking a little bit more about like what the plan does when that effect gets felt, if it's felt quickly, it could do something. But they had something just like the effect of the plan in and of itself would justify hikes regardless of what the Fed perceives. Then they also do have the argument, it's just like Fed thinks it will stimulate the economy at some point, and even if they're wrong, they'll hike. I did not just scratch all their cards except Romer. This Rodriguez card is pretty good, especially at aligning with the first thing I said, which is just like the effect of the plan in and of itself is inflationary, like does spend more money. And so that Rodriguez card does something on the link that kind of gets them around some of this Romer debating. And it has a lot of great quotes. It's like plan inflationary, it increases aggregate expenditure. Business and policymakers see it as inflationary. It would increase inflationary pressure. All of that is enough to make me think there's a decent chance of the link. Then I thought about, is it thumped, and conclude like probably not. I think there is a reasonable distinction between cost of living adjustments of 3% and the magnitude of the plan. LASA, I would like it if you talked more about what the plan does. Just like this, like a fat plan text that should come up somewhere when we're talking about the link. But there is this distinction in the 2NR about baseline adjustments and increases that your only answer to is like, this is Eleanor 24, but like I think it's kind of like a good Eleanor 24.
Okay.
It's just like, yeah, like the plan is probably bigger than your chart, and your chart says it's like 3%. I'm imagining it's a lot bigger than that. And then additionally, just like they said their only internal link is about tech, and like I know the uniqueness is neg for the tech race, like we're winning now, their 1NC internal link card, I think it's scary, is like we're gonna win now. So I think it's essentially priced in that, there's some cost of living adjustments, but it's not enough that there'll be massive rate hikes or that like we'll lose the tech race. So ultimately I kind of think thumper is not enough. I thought a little about link turns the case, but by that point I was like, I think the neg just has enough. I know it sounds like I've come down mostly neg on the important things, but I thought that the debating was very good from the half, and this took a long time. Like there was a lot of stuff where I was like, I wish the neg had said like a little bit more about this, or like I wish that there was a little bit more pause, like will Trump blow things up? So ultimately I'm like, I think neg has bigger internal link to China war, but if any of those things had shaken down differently, I think I would maybe be asked just on like this China thing is faster, they have a faster scenario than yours, that would be really scary.
Yeah.
So I did think they won the big things, but very close.
Yeah, I'm actually a little surprised it wasn't a 2-1. I thought this debate was really, really good. There's just like so many moving parts. The only things I want to add to what Gabe said are the way that the dissent is set up is like a tech, industry argument, and I think that helped them to really get out of both the initial, rate hike arguments that you had, and then also this cost of living argument, because their evidence that they're reading is all about like the second half of 2023, early 2024 in the tech industry. You need defense to that. You need some sort of piece of evidence in the 1AR that's like either a recession would impact, right, like the tech industry. So you, after you've read all those cards about like hikes necessary to stop recession, you've got an internal to the actual impact they're reading, or just read some sort of defense about entrepreneurship, the tech industry, et cetera, that's like, here's the state of things now, because they're definitely ahead on like, I mean, it's uncontested claim that like the tech industry is up, but like it's like the fact that we've had a bunch of job losses, that they're worried about rate hikes, and that will very specifically impact them. How fast that is, and I sat for a long time wondering if the direction arrow is for you on the advantage, can I just vote on AF risk of impact is just faster, and even though it's sort of like, if you get to the same external impact, that the neg does, should I just vote on risk of advantage is faster? I think all of the stuff that Gabe talked about the uniqueness stuff on the election stuff, I agree with. I also wanted to add that I think this other style, the sort of style impact argument about Trump, they've read a piece of evidence that I do think answers this allies argument, which I do think was like a smart pivot, but it is sort of answered that like in the previous Trump, 4 years that allies were like sort of freaked out, but they didn't abandon him, and in fact we got a little bit closer with some allies, and so it sort of undercut some of the internal that you had about that. And I did think they read a piece of evidence that answered that part of the impact.
Yeah.
In addition to the stuff that Gabe mentioned. So I just think like smaller risk of advantage than risk of disad. Disad risk for me was, I think, pretty high. But boy, it would be nice if there was some sort of time frame, like discussion about how fast we need to develop tech and like how fast it gets from the tech, sector to the military. Because your evidence does say that would happen, like very fast as we develop new strategies and it gets integrated into governance and things that we need. But that would be helpful because most apps don't have like a short time frame based advantage, and so you can just sort of like win on DA risk is faster, but not with a 2024 impact. So I think that's the thing that I would add, because I was close on that part of the debate. If there were just a few different things on the uniqueness part of the election debate, I might have voted DAF.
Yeah, all the mechanics stuff, I basically saw the exact same as Gabe. I think the negs I had on Trump lose now, one of the reasons for that is that like your Biden doesn't get credit for the economy thing will become less true over time, and one of the reasons for that is low inflation. So like the DA is in a pretty good position with regard to that. So like I'll just try to talk about things that haven't been talked about before. The cost of living adjustments thumb thing I think should be like deleted from all speech docs. I do not think it gets you anything because like it is a response to inflation. It is not inflationary in the way that the like all the neg link ev is like positing kind of like untimed, like random exogenous and also permanent increases to the benefits of Social Security, which I thought was like bizarrely descriptive of the AF and got them like way further than the COLA adjustments thing got you. So I don't think that should be in the 1AR at all. Like 2AC fine, whatever, but like 1AR did not need that piece even a little bit. What the 1AR really needed that I thought the block was like the worst on by far is like taxes solve the impact or the inflationary aspect of the AF. And also like there's got, maybe some discussion that's like, the plan means that like everybody gets taxed in the short term, but like only the old people get the benefits, and like maybe that like net, means that like, I don't know, maybe money's coming out of the economy on net. And I don't think that like the neg link ev is about Social Security benefits that are funded by immediate taxation increases. And so like maybe that's the answer to this. And so the approach to answering like all these Romer cards that's like, you have like the one-liner that's like, this is not very robust. It's like, yeah, I get it. But that doesn't really get very far in terms of like the rhetorically powerful nature of those cards. And so the better approach is like, go to those articles, figure out if they're talking about benefits that are financed by tax increases or not. And if they're not, then you have like a slayer based on that argument. And if they are, then well, we'll just delete that tab and never talk about it again. I thought the 1AR really needed to go to the retirement advantage page, because the things that were like, the Fox News zombies are misinformation into not caring about anything, and like polarization's locked in, like that did impact like I did think that cut against the AF's ability to like say that a pivot away from the economy to Social Security was effective at solving the Trump thing. And then I guess like one idea that I had for a way to get around the like Trump checks defense is I remember like during the last time that like I was cutting cards about an election DA, like maybe last year or something, there were all these cards that are like, if he wins again, in the eyes of the world, it will like create the perception that just like anti-internationalism is like a durable trend in the United States. And so like, that's like something that's really different about the way that the globe would perceive it. It's not something that checks can solve, etc. And I also just think that like, it's a little difficult for you all, given that the two advantages have so much thematic overlap, right? Like there's, whether you're solving populism has inherent implications for whether you're affecting 2024 in a beneficial way. And so like, I don't know, just anything you could do to like disentangle the two advantages would be super good. And then last thing is, I thought the AF absolutely bodied the neg in all cross-X's. Like it was like going terribly for the neg in like almost every CX, especially like the 2NC CX about like, does the advantage counter plan like do anything about like creating the contrast, and like, they have read all these cards and like you all are just kind of like floundering on that. So like I don't know, maybe that should tip you all off that the advantage counter plan is like not going well for them. They're probably going to kick it. You can like de-emphasize that in the 1AR a little bit. And the other thing I thought that you should have really cross-checked in the 2NC about was I think that the way that the 2NC kind of blew up the sort of like private accounts solve the case thing maybe meant that like it linked to the rates DA.
Yes.
Like, you know, and like I know that's not a 2AC argument, but like it's a radically different explanation in the block. And I would have been fine with the 1AR saying like, okay, you've basically said that like we give everybody all the money, and the net benefit is the rates DA. We are not saying anything else about this counter plan. Like, go away. And also, like maybe the affluent's less because you tax and they don't, or something. I don't know.
Okay.
So yeah, I thought those are my miscellaneous tips.
Okay. I have like 3 like random strategy advice questions.
Yeah.
First is, I was a little confused by the counterplan. Do you think that the counterplan replaces Social Security as per the 1NC text, or
I
doesn't?
didn't think about that super hard. I don't even have the 1NC up anymore, so give me a minute.
My initial reaction is maybe no.
Maybe no does not.
I kind of remember in the debate once you go privatization, I was like, did it? But I mean,
Mandate private implementation of universal retirement schemes? Yeah, I don't think it replaces necessarily.
Okay, so it doesn't.
Yeah, it's just like a private option, I guess.
Okay, that makes sense. And then another question is something we thought about, you know, post 2AR was like, would you think a better strategy versus this discount? Because like, yes, the link is super specific. Yes, uniqueness is good for the neg. Yes, the impact was random. Should we have just like said China Tech Lead bad, like gone for an impact turn?
Sure. Good.
Or sorry, China Tech Lead good, gone for the impact turn?
You could have. I mean, that's like, it's dicey because then you're like conceding all the parts that complicate the case.
Yeah, oh, true.
So I just like, I think that you needed like Forsland said, just like recession decks the tech industry, because like the whole thing about like rates is like, it becomes hard for them to get financing and loans. That also happens in a recession. And the whole, like the neg is like, our impact is not recession, this doesn't, like they still are having, they're still making uniqueness cards about it, but they're like really de-emphasizing that, and like, it would not be you could say it analytically, and like I think all of us, you know, would understand what you mean.
That was gonna
and
be
this
my
is
next
like the,
question.
this is like the only answer to this argument. So like, why not like dig in on that part?
My
of the
next
debate?
question was gonna be, do you think if 2AR or 1AR had been like, because we don't have a card on it, but if it were like just analytically, yes, recession impacts tech industry, yes, inflation impacts.
If
Okay.
you just quoted the one in our answer, like they were like, oh, they refinanced before, like it'd be hard to get financing. If you were just like equally true, if not more true, for a massive recession than a rate hike, I definitely would have.
This is one of those.
So we should have gone for that.
Yeah, this is one of those places where like the age difference between judges and debaters matters a little, because like you all were like, I don't even know how old you were in the 2008 recession, but like we all lived through it, and we remember that like, you know, nobody was hiring and no one could get loans for anything, and yeah, like recession implicates tech industry. I don't know, I remember like, I sort of remember like the 2001 tech bubble recession. Like, you know, we're old, like we kind of intuitively grasp that stuff, and you can like make that argument analytically very easily.
Okay, solid.
Also, the first card that they have read about the tech industry does make this argument on underlying
Embedded.
portions.
Okay,
Yeah.
Next time.
Yeah. I think reading the counterplan text again, mandate private implementation of universal retirement schemes. A, like what even is that? B, that exists because we all can open IRAs if we want. Like,
okay.
I don't know. This is one of those advantage counterplan things. It's just like it's a series of words.
Yeah.
But not much beyond that.
All right. Thank you. Any questions from you?
I don't have any other questions, but I might later. Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course. Just email.
Thank you all for
Thanks,
that.
everyone.
Good luck out there.